and we're getting going. It's hot already. We called it the fastest one we've ever had. Maybe it'll be the shortest recording session, at least. Maybe not the shortest video time. We're Connor. We finally have him back after it's been like 4 months, maybe 15 since we've seen you. It's great to have you here.
I've been busy.
And Ken shows up. He was awesome last week. So
that's right.
That's all we need to know. So just real quick, Ken's been dying to ask this to Connor. So despite the world's fastest show ever, Connor, why is Puka Nakua good? Ken doesn't understand it.
We just talked about it. Don't worry, we're all set now. The short answer is the ultimate, like, terrible time. The ultimate trump card, if you will, is route running. Route running probably is number one. Number two is probably physicality. And then number three is landed in a guy who knows how to use it. Landed on a guy's team that knows how to use it. So
it's like they had Cooper Kupp doing the exact same thing for a little bit. So
you know what he runs? He runs a 4.62. Puka Nakua, 4.57. You guys want to know what I ran? I ran a 4.57. Little man, me. I ran a 4.57 in college. Okay, so Puka Nakua and I were the same speed. All right, but he is a large human being.
I was about to say it took him less steps to get there.
Way less. So
look at that. There it is. The Puka Nakua breakdown. We'd love to hear more, but we don't have time for that garbage. Everyone wants to know.
Don't worry. Ken and I have talked about it, and he understands way more than you do. So I'm not even going to try to.
Okay. I got you.
I'm taking my knowledge to the Turkey Bowl, Phil. You'll see. Or you won't be.
I will not be at the Turkey Bowl.
Or you won't see. That's fine.
What's up with this? Right. According to the Action Network, there is a Ravens-Steelers game at 8:15. I don't know where that's coming from.
What?
Dude, I'm dead serious. I'm looking at their schedule. I got to see this. It doesn't have a different mark. Maybe it's for next week.
You're just looking at it wrong, Phil. It's 1 o'clock on CBS. I'm looking at it right now. Same thing you are. It's just the next one down.
I'm going to oh, okay. So it just looks stupid because 8:15 is right above it.
So slow down.
It was blowing my mind. We don't have time for that, Ken.
Slow down.
I'm going to share my screen for the world. Look at that. 8:15 Ravens-Steelers. Looks very confusing. Give me a break.
You got a bad screen. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways. Yeah. All right. So now let's get to it. We would talk about Thursday night, but this won't be out for Thursday night football.
Yeah.
We don't need that, Ken. In the world's fastest show, you don't need a spreadsheet. What we need to know is, Connor, Ravens-Steelers battle for the AFC North. Dude, this is
an exciting game. What an exciting game. By the way, I know this is part of, like, since I missed last week, so we're going to touch on last week's game because Joe Burrow has, like, is on pace to throw, like, almost 5,000 yards and, like, 1 billion touchdowns and, like, 5 interceptions.
Not make the playoffs.
Make the playoffs. Oh, what a terrible
Hey, I sent a text. All they got to do is beat the Broncos, and technically they have the control.
You're right. We're tracking.
Yeah.
But they're plus 1.5 right now against the Chargers. So I don't know why that is.
But I didn't say they have to beat the Chargers. They just have to beat the Broncos and hope the Broncos have the same record as them. Besides that, anyways, Ravens-Steelers, Connor. Everyone's all like
Ravens-Steelers.
Russell Wilson plays quarterback again, and Lamar is pretty much like he's the favorite, odds-on favorite to win MVP now. So it's it's minus money.
It, man. Honestly, like, the dude is right now. Lamar is playing. It's as crazy as it sounds. You guys remember the soundbite? John Harbaugh at the beginning of this year goes, we are going to see Lamar Jackson go down in history as the greatest quarterback ever. And everyone was like, all right, seriously, what? Like, what did this guy just say? And somehow that prophecy is coming true for, like, right now. Doesn't mean it's going to continue, but, I mean, he's leading the NFL in touchdown passes as a guy who is known for running the ball. He's got, like, an incredible, he hasn't thrown a pick in, like, 6 games or something crazy like that. He's thrown, like, 1 or 2 all year. He's playing out of his mind. You know, I don't know. I think Russ is surprisingly good again all of a sudden.
Dude, Russ is the perfect Arthur Smith quarterback. You
He
only got to throw
is.
the ball like 8 times a game, but just make sure you hit the deep pass.
They have the two best Arthur Smith's quarterbacks ever because Justin Fields needs to go there.
If we could put them into a blender and merge them, that is exactly Arthur Smith's dream.
Technically, both takes can be correct. 4-2 with Justin Fields, and now 7-2 with Russell Wilson. It's just a weird situation.
Russ
honestly.
is putting up a lot better of an offense, I think. I mean, they're averaging like, I think it's like 450 yards a game or something like that with them. I mean, that offense looks good with Russ.
Yeah. I was watching, but side note, it was crazy because Greg Cosell, you guys know,
Love Greg Cosell. Love him.
Cosell does a spot every Wednesday or Thursday on Colin Coward where he breaks down film. And he said all they've done is basically they've taken the Seahawks offense, but then they've chopped it down even more because they gave Najee Harris and Jalen Warren something like 38 touches. So, like, some insane amount of touches goes to the running backs.
It just looks like, to me, the Titans offense, right, with Arthur Smith, where it was Derrick Henry, 50 touches, Ryan Tannehill, 10 of 15 for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns.
And I mean, like, if you look at it, honestly, like, if you look at it, like, I think it's crazy because George Pickens is really good now, but it's funny because we were just talking about, Ken and I were talking about George Pickens and Puka Nakua. Both guys are not separators, all right? So you got a guy, talking about wide receiver dynamics, which is not, they don't get separation, but only like balancing item for having that is basically being really physical, great hands, and you basically have to be a contested catch wizard. And Pickens is great at that. Like, look at him. The touchdown that he had last week, he didn't get barely any separation at all. He spun backwards and caught a ball behind him, doing a 360. Deep balls, for example. Russ throws a great deep ball. Pickens goes out on a go route. He's got a guy in his hip pocket. He just mosses him. Puka, kind of the same way. Cookie's old. But, it's just those are the balancing items. I mean, really, they are.
All right, so it's Ravens -3 on the road.
Who you got?
It's over under 48.5. No. I'm actually comfortable. I prefer this, just like the general narrative on the game, because I'm over here like, guys, I just see the
numbers.
Well, I'm like the Steelers, man. They just remind me so much, like I said, of the Tennessee Titans with Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill. And it's like, we're going to play good defense, but then we're going to have games where we lose to the Cowboys. And the Cowboys aren't even a real football team. Like,
what's the line exactly?
3.
It's -3.
-3 for the Ravens. I think I would lean the Ravens because it's one of those games where it's like, Russell Wilson's playing great, but it's like,
it feels like if this line moves to 2.5, I'd smash it.
Yeah,
Lamar
that's what I was
Jackson-
going to say. Like, I feel like I don't even need 2.5 because I think Russell Wilson, if he has a bad game and the Steelers aren't working the way they're supposed to, they're going to lose by 20.
Brother,
right?
Have you seen the Ravens defense though? Like 32nd ranked against.
I don't know, dude. Jamar Chase is special. That's why that happened, right?
but I'm being serious. Like, if you look at it, though, like on paper, if Arthur Smith doesn't do what he wants, well, I shouldn't say that. If he lets Russ do even somewhat similar passing as he did last week, they should be able to keep up with Lamar. Lamar's split against these guys actually, I think I have it up. I was just looking at it. He has been horrendous.
The Steelers have rocked him.
Horrendous against the Steelers. It's like the only one in the AFC North that like he has like a 500 record against or something, some benign crazy stat. But Mike Tomlin came out this week and was like, don't even compare Jaden Daniels to Lamar Jackson. So they're like, oh, Lamar is very close to Jaden. And he was like, please stop doing that. He's a 2-time MVP. Please don't do that for a rookie. Don't put that on him. So, I would say I still think I'm with the Ravens, but if this moves to 2.5, I'm all over it.
So just any AFC North game, like Pitt's at home, like they play close game. And I am just all the nice things that we've said about this offense, I'm still waiting to be like, I don't believe it. It's still Russ. I hate Najee.
I had Russ in fantasy last week. He had 3 touchdowns and 150 yards though. At some point a team has got to be able just to make them not do something they're comfortable with.
Yeah, but yes, the Ravens defense is a great matchup for them. It just is they can they supposedly can throw this deep ball. Ravens can't defend it. Jamar Chase, check it out. But man, it's so good. It's just I don't know what the Steelers can do to make me actually believe they're good. I get their record's good. They keep winning. They just beat the Commanders, and it looks so good. I just can't do it. I just cannot do it.
We all agree. Steelers are Tim Tebow. All right? All he does is win, but no one wants to watch it. So, all right. Hey, you're talking about games people don't want to watch. We're going to take 10 seconds on this one. Vikings versus Titans. All right. Vikings are 6-point favorites right now, 5.5 some places. I might smash this because Will Levis is terrible.
What's the number? I don't even have it open. My stupid thing is
like I said, I'm just going off the site. But Vikings are 6-point favorites on the road.
So Sam Darnold's looking like Sam Darnold again, not the MVP Sam Darnold that we were all talking about. The one that with full power, Justin Jefferson, Hawkinson, Addison, Aaron Jones looking great, tons of weapons. And by the way, Sam Darnold still is blowing it.
Whoa. They moved the ball up and down the field on the Jags. They stopped at the end zone.
Well, that's a pretty big point, though. But
Jared Goff this week. What was that? Oh,
that was honestly that Houston Detroit game was just so bad. It was fun to watch. It was like turnover. It was just awful trash football. But I was watching it. Had nothing to do with the fact that I had the under. No big deal. But no. Going back to which game?
Sammy
Vikings
Darnold
versus Titans.
Yeah, it's all about Flores versus can he score an extra 6.5 points off Levis? And the answer is yeah. I mean, the answer is probably. I don't like the bet. I'm gonna stay away from it. But if I had to go somewhere,
I'd stay away from it. But I would take the Vikings.
I would stay away from. I'd stay away from it, but I would absolutely bet the Vikings at the same time. Is that a weird sentence?
Correct. Like you said,
no, that's fine.
Ravens on the last one.
If you wanted that under 39.5, I would take it.
If anything, I would do the Titans team under. If I really was doing a super betty thing.
Yeah,
but
that's a good one.
This is awful. Fine.
Yeah, and the Vikings are they harass bad quarterbacks, right? Because they just play pressure in your face.
Matt Jones.
Although, shout out to Calvin Ridley, who is a freaking beast the last 4 weeks in fantasy. Literally 150 yards and a touchdown every week. It's insane.
Yeah. No, but side note, that's a different story, but I almost traded Aaron Jones for him. I got J-Mo instead, so it's dynasty, so I'd rather have the younger wide receiver who likes to do PEDs and gamble on football. But aside that.
That's actually what I look for in wide receivers. I like it. He's a gamer.
I was about to say, this is a dynasty league, and you got someone on steroids.
But supposedly it was Adderall.
Oh,
yeah. Supposedly it was Adderall.
That's the softest one. I hate that. That's annoying.
I'm surprised that's on the banned substance list, but you got a prescription.
I see it, but that's the problem. A lot of people have prescriptions for it. It's not that crazy. Yeah. All right.
Anyways, yes. If you're asking me to put a gun in my head, I would take Vikings -6 because Mac Jones is on the other side. Side note, I did think it was hilarious when people were sitting there at the beginning of the year talking about how we got a QB controversy next year in Minnesota. Are you out of your mind?
Dude, the smartest people on this show all called it out. Sam Darnold's quarterback in the Browns next year.
It sounds right. It just sounds right, man.
JJ McCarthy got one of the highest, if not the highest, guaranteed money contract for a rookie ever. And people are going to sit here and say,
it doesn't pop.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. Sam Darnold's playing his way out. It doesn't even matter what J.J. McCarthy anything.
Let's say
just
that.
wait. Yeah.
Dude, Case Keenum had the Minnesota miracle. Case Keenum had that Minnesota miracle and still got pulled the next year.
Turnovers right now. We want to sit here and be like, yeah, but there's a controversy. You guys just drafted him at 11. What are you talking about?
And he looked good in his preseason game, which everyone knows is a direct indicator.
All right, Ken, doctor time. So rumors are that this may have been in the workings. No, it's probably they're going to deny it. But he had torn meniscus, right? And so they cleaned it up. Full return next year. By the way, he got a PRP injection this past week, I guess.
That's fine.
Surgery. They're like, no, it's just literally an injection. Everyone relax. It's supposed to keep healing. Is it possible that the Vikings overlooked this and just were bought in and said, this is going to be a leap year. We got Sam Darnold. Or, that's one thing. Or is it a problem that JJ potentially knew about this, got worse in the preseason, even after he balled out? He had that first really, really good game, balled out, and then said, I'm going to sign the highest guaranteed contract, and then tell them my needs.
So, Ken, I think Connor's question is, how bad are the doctors in Minnesota?
I just don't know all the scenarios and tell me what's actually could be true.
So for a professional football player, like the musculoskeletal exam is very extensive, especially for a draft pick. They're not going to be
typically they take off your leg, examine it, and then put it back on.
Oftentimes, so there are specific tests that can be positive with a torn meniscus. Now, also with that being said, a torn meniscus can be something that you can play through. Some people have basketball players you see all the time. They do a cleanup in their back in 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, or it's stupid.
But there's just different extremes on how well you're gonna clean up. There's gonna be no residual effects, but there could have been knee pain. But yes, you would have seen it. The exact same thing happens. You start using it, boom, it swells up a ton. There's no hiding it. It would absolutely be embarrassing for the Minnesota team docs if there was a torn meniscus and they just overlooked it. I mean, there's just no chance.
I think it's more likely that he could. Is it possible somebody could have hidden it? Maybe or it was a small tear and then he played on it.
Small tear and it got worse. So I mean, a lot of people play through the partial tears and things like that with the meniscus, and then it can get worse. That's probably what happened.
Okay, that makes sense.
Now the game everyone wants to talk about: Cleveland versus New Orleans.
Why are we even talking about that? Why?
It's Jameis revenge game
conversation so far, and you go to Cleveland and New Orleans.
Jameis revenge game, baby. Jameis revenge game.
So dead serious.
I do like Ken's spin on it.
I was about to say dead serious. I think the Saints just got their nice little rah, we got a new coach and re-energized the locker room, and now they're going to get beat down.
Tyler's on a bye this week, and I got to start Derek Carr. So I need Derek Carr to do the same thing he did last week. MVS, Marquez Valdez Harrison Jr., that's what I need.
So he's going to do his best Rashid Shaheed impression. And Derek Carr, they do work well together. He needs a receiver like that. They have had nobody since, Olave's been playing, seeing double out there. I think he's on his 3rd concussion this year.
Yes, they're thinking about shutting him down.
Yeah, he's on IR. Why would he come back at this point? I don't mind it. Yeah, Cleveland, they give up the deep balls sometimes. They give up long touchdowns because that's what Cleveland does. But I really think that we can't. Myles Garrett, not really but Myles Garrett can get pressure on Derek Carr. I think that Jameis will come out, and I think this is going to be one of those cool, Cleveland gets a win to ruin our draft pick, and the Saints, they just came off a nice win. They're not doing it twice in a row.
Have you guys seen? I looked it up today because I have Cedric Tillman in fantasy. The Saints PFF cornerback grades. I think it was them.
As a team, they just got rid of Marshawn Lattimore. Does that
matter?
matter?
So their 2 outside corners are bottom 100, or sorry, in the bottom 10 out of 110. Like,
Wait,
it is
who is this?
really bad.
New Orleans?
Yeah, both of their outside corners are like,
Wait, what do you think about Ced Tillman? Is he the next Jesus walking in Cleveland?
no, I think he's
No.
he's perfect for Jameis, right? The guy is he's athletic, he can make contested catches, but he'd never do anything with Deshaun because Deshaun wouldn't throw it to him. For the record, I do think this is a Jerry Jeudy game. Just throwing it out there. I think Jerry Jeudy has his first 100-yard game.
Jerry Jeudy is okay. I do not like Jerry Jeudy at all. Ced Tillman is a better wide receiver than Njoku. I'm just going to tell you that right now. I'm calling it. I'm mark it down. Soundbite. Ced Tillman is the next Nico Collins light. Boom.
So when 4 years from now,
not on Nico Collins light. Like, who is it actually? Because that Nico Collins light, I mean, everyone's pretty light.
I'm talking about
the record, Nico Collins led the league in
like second
receiving.
and third year breakout. He should follow that career arc. But let me do
Terry McLaurin.
No, he's bigger than Terry McLaurin. He doesn't even run
throwing
around
out names.
McLaurin. I'm trying to think of somebody who's like that size, 6'3", big. I don't want to say like it's not Mike Thomas. He's not Slant Boy. I mean, he plays similarly to like a more athletic George Pickens. Honestly, he's a better route runner than George Pickens is. Better. That's why he's like may not be as good as Nico Collins, but like he's a better, more polished route runner than George Pickens is at about the same size.
All right.
That's the best I can do off the top of my dome, Ken.
That's pretty
Just
good.
Give me a minute.
No.
So with
I
that,
don't want to get the Cleveland fans hyped up. I know you guys are like,
too
no,
late.
wait,
It's
dude,
too late.
dude.
It is too late.
dude. So I've had Cedric Tillman from the moment I heard Jameis was playing. I knew this was going to happen.
baloney. Stop.
Swear.
No, he did.
I'll show it to you in fantasy.
No,
the second Jameis was named starter, I'm like, this is the guy who plays
Phil's team's
50-50
pretty
ball.
good. Pissed me off. I was trying to pick him up. Already on his team.
For the record,
Phil,
Meekat
you're next.
and Anthony
Listen.
are competing for the two bye week
Phil,
spots. We're the top
Listen,
three.
we got about 10 to 15 minutes. Pick the games that we want to talk about.
No, we're going through each of them. We can just say pass whenever I get there. Anyways,
Okay.
Browns +1. It's a pick 'em. Who you got?
Browns.
Over 45. That's my pick.
I'm doing Browns +1.
All right.
Yeah,
Jags
Browns.
versus Lions is the next game. This is a 2-touchdown spread. Just real quick, I think the Lions got that. We don't need to talk about it because it's very boring.
No,
but I
it's
think
ridiculous.
the Lions got this.
But I think this is like,
anyways.
I hate it. But Dan Campbell, like they had a bad game last week, and Dan Campbell's like, "Don't you dare do that to me twice." And it's Mac Jones. You guys do what you want on defense.
They gave you like a $35 million a year extension. What the hell, dude? That's what he's saying.
Dude, I can't believe Gabe Davis is like the top target for Jacksonville. It's so sad. He is pathetic.
Brian
Anyways,
Thomas was fantastic, and then he got ruined because he's going to have to wait on Mac Jones throwing him the ball. So,
yep. All right, that was fun. Anyways, actually, all right. Bears-Packers. Bears are 5.5 point home underdogs. So, Connor, what the hell is going on with Caleb Williams? I caught myself.
Ooh, well, it's okay. I said
You're allowed to say that one.
Oh, okay.
It's good now.
I'm used to like looking at Audrey and stopping myself from swearing.
It is so funny though that I'm 99% sure we talked about both Shane Walden and Luke Getsy. Shane Walden, gone. We literally at the beginning of the year, I'm 99% sure we all agreed that they would be terrible hires and the first ones out. And here we
that was a you thing.
Connor
nailed it. Yeah, Connor nailed it.
I was gonna say when Connor mentions your name as an OC, you're fired. Dude, going back like the last 2 years.
I never, ever thought that they were that good. You got guys that I don't even remember how Luke Getsy got even relatively relevant. But I know Shane Waldron resurrected Geno's career. But anyways, this is going to be a total slow play for them. Like, they're going to have to get rid of Keenan, obviously. They got to get, in my opinion, Eberflus is done too. You got to get You know who actually wants to go? Mark, watch this. Ben Johnson, next year, head coach of the Chicago Bears. Rumors were at the beginning of the year that was the job that he wanted. And that would be a beautiful upgrade.
That would that makes me angry because it's so perfect.
Yeah.
Interdivision, like, oh man, Dan Campbell
only
would
thing that I
destroy
think
that
that
guy
would-
twice a year for like 2 years.
That's the only reason that I think that they would maybe keep out of it. And then I would say Ben Johnson too. Alice Cowboys.
I like that one.
I
like that
one.
What's
I think
happening is
the Cowboys
People-
are in a bad situation. We'll cover them unless they're not playing this
Yeah.
week. We'll get to them eventually.
anyways, short answer is Bears offensive line is terrible, coupled with a guy who literally doesn't do anything but run in circles back there and try not to throw interceptions. And he'll take sacks before he takes interceptions. Conceptually, terrible offense. They almost tried to run what's like similar to like a run and shoot type offense, which is short intermediate passing game. But then they would do, I watched a couple of clips where it was like 4th and 3, and they were like, yeah, everyone 2x2, everyone run a slant, and we'll just pick. And like, that's an NFL concept. Like, you're out of your effing mind if people are going to do it. Like that's the stuff that we saw Waldron do, and it was embarrassing.
Dude, I remember last year, I think it was like a Thursday night game, but you were texting about Getsy, and because he threw like 5 bubble screens in a row to DJ Moore.
And then Fields, and I was like, you're ruining everything.
But then like you did the same thing this year with the Bears. You're just like, what the heck are they doing?
Miserable. Terrible. Last week was the Baltimore Ravens on Thursday Night Football, their defense. Oh my goodness. What an embarrassment.
You know, Jamar Chase had 200 yards. He can't possibly do anything else to us.
My goodness.
It's the old basketball scheme. Let him get 50. We'll see if anyone else can get the other 10 they need.
Here's the problem. Like, he can get 50, and then he can also get like 60. So yeah, we got a problem.
I lost in fantasy by 1 point, and it started with him, the other guy, having Jamar Chase. It was awful.
So in our dynasty league, with my brother Steve, I just gutted my team because it was time for a rebuild. I have nothing, so I gave my brother my running backs for his draft picks. I won, and I knocked the team he needed to down and the playoff standing because of Jamar Chase putting up 60. It was awesome.
The guy in our league, in our dynasty, who had Chase, nearly lost this week because it was the only thing that he had. Everyone else was terrible. He had Goff. He had, Daniels was decent, but he was just okay. He had DeAndre Swift. He would just write down Tyreek Hill, who's been a complete bust this year. Devontae Adams. Jamar Chase single-handedly kept him. And the only reason he won was because the other guy had Dak Prescott before, and then he ended up having Sam Darnold, and he had 2 other guys that got zeros. That's the only reason he won. It was crazy.
Ken, anything on Packers Bears?
So it's the team that hasn't scored a touchdown in 3 games versus a team that has Jordan Love he's just not at 100%. That offense just doesn't.
What do you think about him off the bye, though? Do you think that could make a big difference?
A groin injury, it's rough for a week or two, but I think it makes a big difference. But the question is is he just back up to normal? He just hasn't been normal all year. But a get right game versus a team that has a good defense but has nothing on offense. And Green Bay's defense has been pretty underrated actually this year. It's just a big number to do an interdivisional game at home. It's tough. I lean Packers though because I really think that Chicago's offense it's on toothpicks and it's just I don't see it getting better.
I completely agree. I think the bye week is the only reason I say Packers because LaFleur reminds me so much of Kyle Shanahan in that give him a little extra time, he can come up with a couple beautiful plays, but then he's going to be a terrible coach in that situational football. But it's going to be off the bye. You don't need a situational football, so Packers just handle this.
People loved him this year.
He's doing a great job, but it's
Mhm.
like, again, close games is where Shanahan, McVay, LaFleur, that whole coaching tree just collapses. They cannot time manage at all. Like, I don't know what it is. They can get people open. They can't, function in the late in the fourth quarter though for some reason. Like Sean McVay, whatever he did last week, who was against the Dolphins, just the most ridiculous coaching decisions in terms of
Dude,
like when to go for it and when not to.
What a surprise. What happened? Sometimes I just want to get on here and react with you guys. But
Yeah, I
that
know. I
was-
wish we could do twice a week and do like a Monday show and then this, but it turns out we're
goodness.
busy people.
Just knee-jerk reactions.
If
that
our
was such
fans
a
would show
weird
up and pay us to do this instead of us having to work real jobs, we could do this all the time.
Stupid jobs.
Anyways,
Stupid fans.
Anyways, Raiders versus Dolphins. I have nothing to say. Like, this game better. Everyone's like, oh, the Dolphins have the easiest schedule to close out the year. They're 7.5 point favorites. If Tua cannot make Waddle and Hill look good here, I'm done with them.
Real quick, did
Okay.
anybody see him try to tackle some dude with his head?
Idiot.
What, like, like you're the one guy where you don't have to do that. And also, just let him go. It's fine. There are other people there. And don't let him just kick knee in the head. Thank God.
Hey,
nothing
you got to
happened.
lead with the top of your skull. It's the hardest part of your body.
I just want you guys to be aware. Technically, he could have gotten tossed for target. So,
Fleck, Tua targeted himself.
yes.
Tua
And
6th
everyone was-
concussion of the
everyone was
year.
literally just
Knocked
sitting there
himself
like,
out.
You just said adamant 2 weeks ago in your presser, hey, I'm not wearing the Guardian cap. And then you go out and you do that. And you're like, Tua, we're going to make you wear a Guardian cap here soon.
We're going to duct tape it to your helmet. Yeah.
I can't believe you. I cannot believe it. Devin Etienne has one ever. And he is wearing the Guardian cap.
I don't
Etienne
know.
has one.
With him on my fantasy team, I'm like, hell yeah, you wear that, man.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
All right, so I have nothing. I don't want to take any. This game is like it's too close, but this is like where
Miami
needs to show up.
Last
Anything
thing
else?
that we have to touch on.
This is a classic, I'd tease this one down. Like 7.5 is way too much.
Money line,
but
yeah.
we're not talking about that. Yeah.
Last discussion that we have for the week. Good sound bites here. Please tell me what you guys would be doing with the Colts QB situation, the random garbage that's happening in Vegas where they decide to start Minshew one week and start Aiden Hutchinson Aiden O'Connell another week.
Isn't it Mariota this week? Or no, I'm sorry. Ritter.
It's back to Minshew. Back to Minshew this week. They're benched O'Connell. Now, who else was it? There was somebody else that started. Who was the other QB crapper that was really stupid? Bryce Young. Tell me.
All
Please
right.
tell me.
Flacco, I'm playing. Like you need to be well aware that if you're starting Flacco, this is like a consequence of your actions, right? You're playing the upside. You won the game or two because of it already. Keep playing the variance. Bryce Young, I'm actually going to play him. He looks like a functional quarterback again, and it seems like it's the only chance you have at making that first pick worth it. The Raiders, I don't care what they do. Doesn't matter.
So
They're
is
going
Aiden
for-
O'Connell? I thought Aiden O'Connell's hurt though. I thought he went on IR. Had like
I think he might have come back. You might be right, but they're
thought it was a
benching-
thumb thing. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was like
yeah.
Ritter versus
Sorry,
Minshew. So yeah, it doesn't matter what you do. I'm doing Minshew over Ritter. I'm doing everyone over Ritter. No, so Andy is just a classic. Like until you're like eliminated from the playoffs, I'm gonna give the guy who I think just actually gives us a better looking offense, and I still think that's Flacco. Anthony Richardson just hasn't done it, and I mean, look at Jordan Love. He sat for a million years, and then he, was supposedly like raw, and he came out, and that helped. And I'm totally fine with Anthony Richardson. I don't think the answer is like, oh, you just play guys. They need the NFL experience, and you just play them just to play them. I think like they're making the same mistakes over and over. You're just forming more bad habits. But I don't know. I think Flacco's not a bad person to sit behind.
I think I was about to say the other point. I think Flacco's a terrible person to learn from because he's teaching you how to throw the ball into tight coverage and just hope it works out.
Is he, or are you learning what also not to do? But I mean, I just think he gives them a better chance to win right now, and that's
Actually,
that's it.
wasn't that a study where it was like parenting? If you have good parents, you're going to be a good parent. If you have bad parents, you're going to be a good parent. It's when your parents are average that it turns out that it doesn't work out well.
I think it's just
I haven't looked into that. I've not seen that.
So you
piss poor job, coaching job. Like if you're gonna stick with it, you need to have him learning things the rest of the year. If he's your guy, 4th overall pick, and you said he needs to learn, then he needs to learn. Let him learn. But you just killed his confidence and then said, "Ooh, sorry, we were wrong." That's really what you said. I don't care what you can say. You could dress it up all you want, but you can't put lipstick on a pig and say it's a girl. Okay. The truth is, you had second thoughts. That's the truth.
Yep.
And now he
second
knows.
thoughts. You had a million interceptions. Come on.
Now, he has been historically bad, like Jamarcus Russell bad in terms of accuracy. But he's still a freak of nature, right? Like, if you were going to commit to him, you needed to commit to him. The fact that they went to Flacco would be like a Russ Wilson. They thought they were the Steelers where they had the roster to say, we could win games, get into the playoffs, and have a shot at the championship. Let me tell you guys, you didn't and weren't going to go even to the playoffs, likely, no matter what. So You just ruined him and his confidence and said, yeah.
I also have no problem with benching a guy who definitely needs to learn and to work on things.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying, fine if you bench him.
Don't put him back.
Go back to him. Can't do it.
So, apparently they can.
Apparently.
Also, though,
you want.
You talk about, I don't know. You talk about like, affecting his confidence. What would have happened against like Minnesota, a team that's like specializes in confusing quarterbacks, and then like the Bills, where like Josh Allen would have rolled them. You know what I mean? Like both those games would have went horrible.
He opened the game with a pick six. He opened the game with a pick six.
And were they up 13-10? And I was
they came back.
Yeah.
So Josh Allen started throwing the ball back.
Yeah.
You could say that Anthony Richardson would have done the same thing. Sure. So net, you're the same exact situation. Now, Flacco is a better ball thrower. I mean, this is the problem. This is what's so interesting because there are more similarities between the Russ Wilson, Justin Fields thing and the AR Flacco thing. Old-ass QBs, better throwers of the football. One is a better team than you think. The other is not very good and is worse now because you've just killed your quarterback's confidence. So everyone is patting Tomlin on the back, but I'm not convinced that if it goes the other way, people aren't like, Tomlin, it's time for you to go, buddy.
All right. So with that out the way, we have Rams Patriots. No one wants to talk about that. Besides, Drake May looks awesome, and I'm very excited for him in general. Colts Jets, you guys want to talk about that? I got nothing there. We just kind of hit on that, and I'm like, I don't
talk about it.
Yeah.
No,
I got nothing.
Rivers for president in 2028.
Now here, Falcons versus Broncos. I like the Falcons. They're in Denver, but this just feels like a game Denver's going to blow because they're not actually a great football team. Like, I don't know, man. I just watched the Broncos, and I don't feel it. They're 5-5. They're so up and down.
They were a block field goal away from beating Kansas City. I mean,
dude, Kansas City is another one that I am not really believing in, man. I swear they intentionally play to win by less than 7.
Kent, are you taking? All right, so what's his face? Darnell Mooney.
I'm not disagreeing with what Phil said. I'm just saying that maybe now's not the week to say they're
injury report with Achilles injury that they're keeping under wraps.
Who did?
Darnell Mooney.
That's a big loss if it's legit.
So tell me, they would have called it a ruptured Achilles tendon, but is Achilles tendonitis more common than people think?
Achilles tendonitis is a very common overuse injury. It's the difference between Christian McCaffrey and Deshaun Watson this year. That's a rupture versus tendonitis.
Sure.
The problem with the tendonitis is the only thing to do is what Christian McCaffrey did, and it's rest, and it's rest for long periods. It's very hard to rest an Achilles. So that part's tough. And now the thing is, it could be like mild, like heel pain, and they can call it that. And it's like at the insertion of the Achilles, it's actually more of like a bone, issue, and that goes away quickly. But tendon injuries do not go away quickly. That if it is an actual Achilles tendonitis, that is going to linger with him the rest of the year if he does not rest.
They called it an Achilles injury, but he was limited, which means dude ain't ruptured his Achilles if they call it.
No, it is not ruptured. Definitely not ruptured. That rupture is IR. Forget about it.
You're done for you.
Yeah.
Cam Akers.
No, he was only there for 8 months.
And it turned out great for him.
He's now back up for a 29-year-old running back. It turned out great.
You guys, any thoughts on Falcons versus Broncos? Like, the total is 44. It's, within a field goal of each other.
I'm not going to believe in Bo Nix. It's kind of the same thing with, like I said with the Steelers. Like, I don't care what I see. I just can't believe it.
Correction, you only believe what you see. You don't care about the results is what I hear. Like the stats that come up on the paper. Because he looks terrible.
I think he also looked through the lens of, like, fantasy. Like, Bo Nix is, like, a decent fantasy quarterback. Like, truthfully, just based off of him being able to run.
He has more rushing touchdowns than his entire team combined. Like,
that's a weird situation.
Jalen Hurts 2.0.
But,
no.
I'm just
let me on the record. No.
I just feel like it's so weird watching him play because you're just waiting for him to make a massive mistake. And
I love, dude. The announcers typically have 3 or 4 plays a game where it's like he chose to throw the ball in between his 2 open receivers.
That's what I'm saying. Like when people like see only stats and they say Bo Nix threw for 215 yards and a touchdown and they won the game. They're like, he was really good.
What about Bo Nix threw for negative yards in the first half?
But then they'll see the end result. People who don't watch the game, and then they go, if you watched the Ravens game in the first half, they were really close to them. But Bo Nix missed three wide open receivers that could have put them way up and changed the whole dynamic of that game. One of them was on 4th and 2. Had a wide open Troy Franklin up the sideline, and he just overthrew. Like, those are the things that on why I'm lukewarm on like I'm with you, Ken, and why I'm lukewarm on Bo Nix. Because think about it. So, like, he didn't lose the game right there, but he definitely didn't win it either. So, I don't know.
All right, here we go. 4 games left. We have Seattle versus San Fran. Guys, if San Fran doesn't start covering against these bad teams, it's really going to make me angry. Last week, 3 freaking missed field goals to not cover the spread. I'm taking them again because I don't believe in Seattle at all. And San Fran is like, with McCaffrey, their offense is just different. They can move the ball. They got to finish drives, though, and they got to make field goals. I don't care which.
The game's a lot different if you don't miss 3 field goals, man.
Yeah.
It is a lot. It is a lot. Jake Moody, like, he would have been cut this week. Cleveland's finest right there, by the way, from Cleveland.
So you guys have anything for Seattle, San Fran? I'm happy to skip to the game of the week. If not,
it's my other tease one that I'm doing with Miami, but that's not important.
Okay? So just make sure you get San Fran to win. How'd that go for you with New Orleans? Was that last week or 2 weeks ago?
That was 2 weeks ago, and that was a giant letdown. Yeah.
That's when the Panthers beat them. By the way, Connor, in case you weren't counting. Chiefs versus Bills. So game of the week. It is like.
Is it the regular season?
Yeah, 2 point
Josh
spread.
Allen. Okay,
I was about to say Bills at home. This screams to me like the Chiefs' first loss and maybe one of their like 2 or 3 losses on the year.
Dude, this is a hot take, and I hate doing this, but I do it all the time. So I don't actually. It's an oxymoron.
Sure.
I think the Bills win, and they win handily. That's my take.
Well, that's the only way the Bills win. They do not win by 7.
I just
I
can't.
just think I think they're regular season. I think they've had some really close games that they shouldn't have won Kansas City. This to me feels like a Lamar Jackson / Superman version / Josh Allen time-esque game for me.
I do agree. I just feel that this game means so much more to Josh Allen than Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes is like, who cares? We're up, we're undefeated. We'll see you in the playoffs. But like, Josh Allen's like, I need this, something to prove. I still like Josh Allen as, I guess, he's second, but that's also dark horse MVP candidate because how far
your
Lamar's
boy's
ahead.
back this week. Amari.
I was about to say, I get the feeling the Bills rested Keon Coleman and Amari last week.
Keon Coleman's already out.
Yeah,
already
he's
said he's
still
out.
but
Yeah, well,
Amari-
they just got him some extra rest last week then too. Anyways,
Amari is like the Kawhi Leonard of like NFL players. He just is so whimsy on like what he wants to do and when. He'll go out and give you like 160 and 3 touchdowns some days, and then the next week he'll give you 5 yards. And
he'll sit out half the plays on offense just
I
because he
don't
doesn't
know.
feel like playing.
Just such a weird guy.
Anyways, Connor, I'm with you. I think the Bills got this one. I think the Chiefs, they need to get some urgency to them, man. They I don't know what's going on. They
Sounds
just
like
are
they need a
consistently
loss.
flat. Yeah. But then like you give them a little bit of urgency, they block a game-winning field goal.
It's
I don't know.
it's just so hard for me to like say like, yeah, Pat Mahomes is gonna lose with points. Like it's just like it's a tough one.
All right. So next up, Bengals versus Chargers, Sunday Night Football. I wish I had any read on what the Chargers are going to do each week, but for some reason, Justin Herbert is either the GOAT or not doing anything on offense. And then the Bengals, Joe Burrow's going to show up and they're not going to do anything on defense. So, Connor, what do you think?
It's such a weird, like, the stats, Phil, for you, because you're a stat guy. I don't know if you know that. You're a stat guy.
I had no idea that I have a degree in.
I think the Chargers have not given up, or they've only given up one game over 20 points this year.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And that to me, like, just doesn't make sense. And I just, in my head, feel like, okay, if something's got to give here. The Bengals just look ungodly on offense last week. Their defense is going to allow everyone to score on them. Like, something's got to give here, right?
So,
is this going to be a high-scoring game?
Dude, so the Chargers have the #1 defense in points allowed per drive and sit in their top 6 in yards allowed per drive.
Yeah.
Just absolutely insane. The only team to score 20, and the Steelers scored exactly 20 on them.
I don't know, man. Something's got to give. Ken, you got to make it.
It pisses me off because Phil was just right about Chargers. He's like, they're going to win and they're just not going to score points. And I was like, that's stupid. How are they going to win if you don't think they're going to score points? And he was just right. And so J.K. Dobbins has looked like he looks like he's playing off of injuries.
One leg.
Yeah. And by the way, Gus Edwards came back looking real good. I picked him up for fantasy.
A lot of carries from J.K. I was surprised at that. He came back and immediately started chewing into his yardage.
Mm-hmm. But it is a good matchup for the Chargers. They just keep winning these like games that they should. Their defense is like, we're going to wait for you guys to make a mistake. And also we can pass rush. And like the Bengals are like, we don't have a line. I'm real worried about it. But they got to start winning some of these close games sometime. Like the Bengals are starting to look much better. I'm going with the Bengals because I just think it's time that like the Chargers lose one of these games. It's not against KC, and then
that's
Cincy
fair.
wins. But
so I've been on Cincy, but this game just was a bad matchup for them. Like
it's a horrible matchup.
Mack and
Joey Bosa.
Yeah, Joey Bosa. I'm like, it's not Nick. I know it's not Nick. But it's like any pass rushers that have a heartbeat against the Bengals. It's like, all right, cool. You're gonna get to Burrow instantly. It's just can Jamar Chase get open before they get there? That's the only thing
they
that
got
matters.
good DB or they got good DBs too. But if T plays, I'm picking Cincy.
whatever it is, where it's yardage, highest yardage and highest touchdowns, and Triple Crown would potentially be the highest average passer rating. There's potential he does that. Jamar Chase ends up as the wide receiver 1 overall in everything. He becomes a Triple Crown winner. And get this, they have a highest leader of sacks in the NFL with Trey Hendrickson. And they're going to miss the playoffs. Guys, we have been on this for years. If the seat does not get hot for Zach Taylor, we got a big problem.
Dude, if the seat is not gone, you got to pull him.
Yeah. Like, my goodness.
And I told Ken last week, like,
crazy is that?
Dude, T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, when they play together, they both play like top 6 receivers in the NFL individually right now. Yep. Let alone like, I don't know.
This week, by the way.
I want them so bad in the playoffs because I think they would be so fun. But
oh yeah.
All right,
I got to tell you,
here we go.
Just real quick, after doing this podcast with you guys, I absolutely hate seeing Zach Taylor when they zoom in on him on TV. I like it's just his face now. Everything about
Such a punchable face.
Is there anything you can do about it? No. There's a reason the buttons say I believe in Joe Burrow.
Zach Taylor.
Last up, Texans versus Cowboys. This does not count as a real football game. Better question. Who would win, University of Texas or Dallas Cowboys right now? Just kidding.
Oh,
did we know it's Texas?
Cowboys, but only because of Micah
Parsons. Micah Parsons would go in at running back too.
Man, dude, if they put Trey Lance back there, it's a good game.
That was just so crazy to me to watch Jerry Jones dance around like any type of responsibility. It is insane to me. The elitist attitude and just like the total. I've worked with people like that before, and it is so crazy because you're like, just all the things that he ends up saying. Well, we can't change the stadium. Like, you also threw for 66 yards, you moron. Like, it doesn't matter. They would have had to do the same thing. But anyways, continue. And then he's like, well, we can't just make curtains. And then somebody pulls out, they had WWE, like SmackDown or Raw or whatever, WrestleMania in Dallas. And they have curtains that they pulled across it. Somebody took a picture. It was like, oh, you mean these curtains, Jerry? Like, it is the craziest thing to me to watch that man just talk.
How reckless is a man who spends hundreds of millions on a stadium and doesn't check the itemized receipt for curtains?
Wild to me. Just absolutely wild to me. That guy, I don't even know how to put it. He just truly is like a one of one.
I don't know how it works where it's like, I know he's the owner and he's also like makes all these decisions. And it's like, hey, how can you tell the owner / GM that like, hey, maybe you shouldn't GM anymore. Maybe just sit back in the owner's box and watch what we do, because this team like has some star power, but also just hot garbage. And you're not helping with the hot garbage part.
Oh, this is another reason, by the way, that we sit here and you watch teams who do not invest in even serviceable backup quarterbacks. Dolphins crushed their season. Cowboys crushed their season. Vegas doesn't start.
Cooper Rush did throw for 300 yards in the first game he started. 2, how did the Dolphins go from Teddy Bridgewater as their backup to nothing?
Go get Taylor Heineke. Who cares?
What about that Tannehill guy?
You could have got Jameis. Tannehill. Yes. All these are good options.
Like, what are you talking? They have Trey Lance. Like, I'm not saying Trey Lance is good, but please, he's better than Cooper. Cooper Rush, literally. That was the other thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about, like, almost immediately after those games was like, do you know how terrible it is to watch the defensive, like, so D-line A, they're going to basically engage 8 and rush 8 all the time. They're going to go zero blitz all the time, and they're going to sit at 5 yards. Why? Because your quarterback can't read a defense, and they know you're running a hitch route or a slant. If that's the only thing that you can run, goodness, you're going to get 66 yards. That's it. That's going to be the answer.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I had
we
the
watched
over.
Deshaun Watson. We know what it's like to have a third string quarterback in there.
Because like that's the limitation of Deshaun Watson. Like that's the limitation of Deshaun. That's the limitation of
Skylar
not having a
Thompson
backup.
and
Miami was
Tyler
the same
Huntley
way.
and
Like all of the. But if you watch it, literally.
Dude, I love that Mel Kiper went on the air saying the NFL should ban 2 high safeties because it is preventing the league from doing anything. Yet we're
Did
sitting
he
here.
really say that?
That was early in the year. And
Too good of a strategy.
But and now we sit here and discuss how there are teams with quarterbacks who can't take advantage when there is no safety. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's it? It's like when the legal environment changes in your favor, you know. So it's like this guy's like, oh, I'm perfect for this role, but it's like nothing happened. You still suck at your job. It's just congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I think we nailed it. We're no picks on Texans Cowboys because like I can't trust the Texans at all. Don't I? It sucks that that's Monday night. I hope there's basketball on so I have something to watch.
No. After 2 primetime games, it was awful, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so real quick, I had Achan and Tyreek Hill, and I needed like 25 PPR points between the two to win against Jamar Chase. And like it's like, oh, you're projected to beat him by like 20, you know. And then it's like, wow, even with a Tyreek touchdown, I didn't do it.
Dude, I told you, dude, in close games that are competitive where it needs like no one to go for it on 4th down, know what to call. Guy blows it every time. Don't know how. The Rams had 5 if you get 5 field goals, like that's a problem.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. With that, we're all done because we're finishing before the hour. An hour is not actually the shortest time we've ever took to record, but I was gonna say from getting on the call, everyone to ending, we've done it. Good job, team. Go Commanders.
I was efficient. Loved it.
Deuces.